Welcome back to Smoke Your Ribs. I'm Russ Jones. Today is episode 5 of my Game On series. I was displaced back in 2005 to Belleville, Illinois, which is roughly 12 miles, I believe, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. And we used to take the Metro Link from Belleville over the Mississippi River into St. Louis quite often. I loved that town, loved going into the Arch, loved going everywhere around there, checking out the foods. But the one thing that I really enjoyed was the ball games there at Busch Stadium. What was going on in that year, they were actually building the new Busch Stadium to replace the old Busch Stadium, and it was actually, the construction was going on within the old stadium, as you can see from this picture here. Now, with that said, they never missed a home game. It didn't affect their schedule. They played it all perfectly. One of the menu items that they have there at the new Busch Stadium is called the Man Burger. I didn't name it. That's what it's called. It's called the Man Burger. It's more of a German influence burger. It's going to be good. Let's get started.
If you wanna cook backyard barbecue till you get your feel, you come to the right place. Russ Jones Smoky Ribs. Smoky Ribs. Smoky Ribs.
All right, first thing I'm gonna do and get out of the way is I'm gonna grind my own burger meat. I'm starting out with pork. I've got about 1.25 pounds, about 1¼ pounds of pork. This is boneless pork. And here I have veal. These are veal chops. Now these weigh in right at 1 pound with the bone. So it's gonna be a little under a pound by the time we cut the bone out of this. Now this, and don't freak out, this is a nice porterhouse steak. And the reason I went with this, first off, it's really good beef. Second off, this was cheaper to buy than a little chuck roast, believe it or not. I didn't need much. This is 1.65 pounds with the bone in, so that's what I'm going with. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut these up, cube them up, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes, and we're gonna do some meat grinding. All right, it's time to grind some meat, and you'll probably see the smoke coming off this. Anytime you grind meat, put your head in the freezer, get it ice cold, get your hopper ice cold, get your tray ice cold, get your meat ice cold. Believe me, it really helps in the grinding process. Now, as you can see, this is a really coarse grind. I'm going to run this through again, but this time I'm using this smaller plate here. This is going to make a finer grind, something more similar to what you're used to or what I'm used to. Now sometimes I will do these burgers with a real coarse grind like this. That plate was also in the freezer, nice and cold. Everything is still good and cold. We're going to run this through real quick one more time. You can obviously see the difference from the first grind, the coarse grind, to this more finer grind. The fat's more distributed, the meats are well distributed. It's good to go. To make this Basil Aioli, I'm going to start off with roughly 3 to 4 tablespoons of fresh basil. I just went out and picked this from my little bush, and I just simply minced it up somewhat, just kind of julienned it. It's getting ready to be pulverized right here inside of this food processor. Now I've got about 3 cloves of fresh garlic. There again, just minced. Going in with 2 egg yolks. About 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. This is fresh squeezed lemon juice. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start processing this. And while it's processing, I'm gonna be adding in, this is 1/2 cup of vegetable oil to 1/4 cup of olive oil. Going to pour that in there very slowly. All right, so I'm looking at it. The consistency looks pretty good. I'm going to now add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to let it go about another 30 seconds. As you can see, I use raw egg yolks in this aioli. You really need to be careful where you get your source of eggs on that, and make sure you trust the eggs. Make sure they're from a well-known farm. Look them over good, because you wouldn't want to get sick or get your family sick. Now we're going to make some beer braised onions, starting off with 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. We're going to melt that down. All right, my butter's melted. I've got 1 medium-sized yellow onion that I cut rings out of earlier going in, and we're just going to cook these until they're tender. So our onions are looking tender. That's where we want to bring them to at this point, is just tender, where they're nice and flexible and translucent. From this point, we're going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt, kosher salt, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now, being from St. Louis, Busch Stadium, you know what kind of beer they're using. Budweiser. Got 6 ounces of Bud going in here. I'm going to raise my heat. We're going to bring this back to a boil, and we're going to simmer this for around 16-17 minutes till all the beer is gone and these onions begin to caramelize. Alright, we have been going roughly 20 minutes if I had to guess. These are nice and caramelized. All 6 ounces of that beer has evaporated out and absorbed into these onions as well. Smells killer. Just the caramelization of this onion. I smell the butter and the beer when it first hit it. Oh man, these are going to be good. Now what you want to do is cut your heat all the way down low and add in 2 ounces of Budweiser. That's just going to kind of cool it off there a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is just shove them off to the side here. We got other things to do, and when I get ready to put these burgers together, I'll just simply reheat these. These are good to go. Going to be cooking these burgers on the Mojo griddle today. I've already salt and peppered one side. Now I've had these burgers in the freezer. They're not frozen, they're just good and stiff and cold. I'll go ahead and salt and pepper this side. I do believe we're about ready to flip. Building a nice crust on there, looking good. On this man burger, they use Provel cheese, and I'm here to tell you, you cannot find Provel cheese in South Mississippi. This is provolone. That's what I'm going with. Provel cheese is used a lot in the St. Louis area. It's actually a combination or a blend of cheddar, Swiss, and provolone. And it's got me wanting to order some just to see what it's about, because I've never had it. They also use it on pizzas there in St. Louis. But like I said, we're going with a provolone. But keep in mind, if you want to make something more closer, resembles what they're doing, get the Provel. Alright, these are not quite done, but they are getting a nice crust on the bottom. But I'm just going to move them to an area that's not quite so hot. Let them finish off. Going to clean our griddle off here real quick. We're going to place on some of these pretzel rolls. Now, I looked high and low yesterday for pretzel rolls. I've seen them in my area before at the local stores. Could not find them. So I talked my wife into making these. She's a pretty good baker, and I think she did an outstanding job. First time ever making pretzel rolls. I've done hamburger buns myself. I've never attempted a pretzel roll, but it's kind of got my curiosity up, because these things are good. Just want to give these a quick toast. By that time, our burgers should be ready. All right, let's build this burger. We're going to start by putting some of this Basil Aioli that we made. Going to put it right here on the bottom. Going to put on 1 somewhat thinly sliced tomato. Now on with this burger. All right, last but not least, we're going on with some of these Budweiser braised onions. I have a feeling this is going to really set it off. Put our cap on it. Let's give this bad boy a try. And here is the final product, and I can't wait to try this one. This is the Man Burger from Busch Stadium right there in St. Louis. And by the way, when you order these, you can have them with chicharrones, fresh fried chicharrones. For $2 more, you can have tater tots. I bought a whole bag for just a little bit more than that. All right, I can tell already this is a juicy burger. Here we go. Ooh, that is really good. This is not like your typical burger. The veal, the pork, and the beef mixed together really has some strong German accents in this, along with the pretzel bun. That aioli is killer. Just a basil aioli with the tomato, the meat, the onions, dynamite. I hope you give this one a try. This is my 5th episode. I think I'm gonna do one more for the Game On series because I got some things coming up and it's time to move on to something a little different. And so I'm gonna put one at you next week, hopefully next week. That'll be the last one of this series. I hope you enjoyed it up to now. Hope you give some of these a try. I would definitely recommend giving this one a try. Until next time, smoke your ribs.